That's pretty bad.
I'm hoping we didn't forget anything. So now I just gotta get it out of here. And this is tricky.
Needs to go away.
Pretty much by the fan. And part of it is this really complicated sliding wall. We've been working on this all year. We gotta get it close in the ceiling. A 1/4 inch from the ceiling. So we're kind of a chicken and the egg moment here where what's the next step? What's in our way or what's helping? We want to do the ceiling, but there's a bunch to figure out for the ceiling. And part of it is this really complicated sliding wall that turns one side of the couch into a shower stall when you need it. This has been an idea we've been working on for a long time. Finally, we're in the box though, so this is where we're gonna really hammer out how it's gonna work in actuality, not just theory. I see this in here. I just want to start moving this thing.
That's pretty bad.
So that was probably one of the messiest jobs we've ever done. It was basically snowing fiberglass dust in foam, and it was so hard to even see the line through the router. That's why I handed it off to Savannah. She's a little more experienced with the router than I am. It cut clean. We had no real problems. And you can see we left this about an 1/8 inch out, maybe 1/4. So the cedar will sit flush with this. What we're doing here is we're putting a track into the ceiling because this whole wall here is going to be able to slide. So this will be part of the couch most of the time. And when you want to use the bathroom or the shower, this whole wall will slide over. And there's a couple other mechanisms we'll explain later. But basically you have a sliding wall. So we're getting some of our space back that we lost by going to a smaller box with this new design. We've been working on this all year. It's pretty complicated, but we've been trying to keep it as simple at the same time, so it's not a bunch of mechanisms. We'll explain this whole area more in depth when we get to that part of the build, but for now, we needed to get these tracks into the ceiling so we can put our cedar planks up. Otherwise, we'd be just getting in our way later. So we got those in, encouraged by what we're looking at, and now we can proceed and do the whole ceiling and get back to this later. nice things with this box is we had some conduit designed into the panels. So we don't have to run the wires and then create a gap for them to sit. In the past, in the buses, it worked out because there was furring strips anyway, so there was a gap up in the ceiling at least. But here there wasn't going to be one. So there's channels in here. They're just small, like 1x1 channels, but that's all we need. There's not a lot of big wires. This is just 12-volt lighting really, and then the fan. All the bigger stuff, like the 110, 12-3 wires, are down below. So those can all hide underneath cabinets, in the back of cabinets, so it's not a big deal, but having this, very convenient. The final step before starting the ceiling is getting the wiring in for the puck lights. So right now, I'm running these back through the conduit, back to the point of distribution. That way they're already out of the way. Particularly the corners, I don't think I can do that after the ceiling's in place without it being a mess. See it trying to come out here. I'll actually continue it. So the trickiest part is I have to get them out of this conduit and into this one. They don't actually meet. Fortunately, there's actually going to be a header here for some other stuff. So that worked out conveniently, because otherwise I'm not sure I would have hid those, so we would have had to build something just to do that. But there's already a gap built in. So now I just got to get it out of here. And this is tricky. I can't get it out. Come on. There it is, yes. There's a couple spots where I need 2 wires, like the one for the fan. That's going to be hard because it's not a very big conduit. Most of the spots with conduit only have 1 wire going through, so it's not a big deal. And it's just a 16, which is pretty small. Send it back. And this one is main puck front, so that means this. I might put those independent still, I'm not sure. So I'm actually running independent wires for each of these 3 sets here. And at the point of distribution, I can either put them all together on one dimmer or choose to put one on its own switch. And then of course the bed 2 puck lights will be independent of all these as well on their own dimmer. Oh, this one's gonna be tricky because I do have to get it back over here. Pinched in with this 12-2 wire, which is a little bigger. I've already wired in this vent fan. I ran this 12-2 wire directly back to distribution through the other side of the box. I've connected it with these Wago lever nuts so I can easily disconnect if I have to work on it. And I even bored out a little hole back here, so those can sit in there out of the way of my other wire. So that's really nice. Now I just gotta get the other light wire through here with that bigger wire. Looks like there's enough space though. Yeah, it's going. I think that's about all you could get though. A 12 and a 16. Much more than that, it's too tight. And what I'll do is I'll pull them through like this, so there's an easy spot to connect the lights. I'll cut this and leave a little piece hanging on each side, put a Wago on it, and then when it comes time to put the puck lights in, they're ready to go.
Yeah.
Wait.
Done?
Almost. Well, let's find out if we need those other 3 feet. I'm just doing my thing. I think there's enough. So now you just gotta cut a couple short ones. About what we need. I'm using a high quality marine stranded wire. It's really well insulated, which is great. It's basically in conduit already. Obviously you still don't want it on a sharp edge, but it protects the actual wire quite a bit. If you kind of can see, there's quite a bit of material between the wire and the outside. It's also oil, salt, water, gasoline, and UV resistant. So it's for boats, so it's overkill for us for sure. That extra bit of insulation is making this wire a little more rigid, which is great for pushing it through the conduit. It's easier to feed through. Depending on what I'm using it for, I have 16-2 all the way to 10-2 wire. So that's 16 gauge 2 wires, or for my AC stuff, it'll be all 12 3-wire. And it just depends on what it is. Like the puck lights, even a 16 is way more than you need because the watt draw is so low. For something a little bigger like a water heater or something, I'm probably using a 10 gauge. And all that really depends on distance and amps being pulled. So that's something you always got to be checking your math on. For each application, you really want to go through and make sure you have the right gauge wire for the right distance. What you got?
This is our pendant light. Paper mache.
Ooh.
It's wrapping.
Nice.
We went with the same one we have in our bus because we really like it and we like how it matches the cane.
Looks good.
Yeah.
Here, hold it up there. Let me see what it looks like.
So let me put it on the pendant light. Has to be really short for the space that it's going into.
Test it out.
All right.
Ooh, that's fun.
How's it look?
Looks good.
I like it. Could come out here, be back here. We'll just have to mark that and then route out a little spot. There's conduit right here, but this cable has to get back to the conduit, so we'll have to use a router to go from where the light sits over there.
Ooh, more router. That's fun.
Hopefully that'll be our last cut in the ceiling.
That's fine. You could just kind of mark the center point of that.
Okay, so I think everything's done for the ceiling.
After about 2 weeks of saying, all right, ready to do the ceiling? I think we're ready to do it.
So there's been way more prep.
So much prep. We got ceiling lights. We have metal plates embedded for our magnetic projector system. Mm-hmm. We have over cabinet lights, vent fan. We have exterior lights that go to the outside. All this stuff had to get through conduit. So a lot. Oh, pendant light.
The pendant light. Almost forgot the pendant light.
I'm hoping we didn't forget anything.
Yeah, who knew there were so many things in our ceiling? If you were wondering why we glued steel plates to the ceiling, we are doing a system that we developed with the shuttle buses, and that's a magnetic mounting system for the projector and the projector screen. So we have 3 mounting points throughout the habitat. One in the very front that we call movie mode. It's down the length of the box. One for the couch, and then one for the bed. So we got the projector out, lined those up, marked the spots, and then put steel plates on there. We'll then cover the whole ceiling with cedar so it hides those steel plates. And there's magnets on our projector screen and mounted to the projector. So you can't see the mounting points. That's the whole point of it. We wanted it to be invisible, but when you put these things up to the ceiling, they hold themselves up. It's something that we developed while we were doing our shuttle bus, and then we've put it in all of our builds since. So we couldn't imagine not putting it in here too. It just wouldn't be one of our builds without that system.
It feels like the prep is finally done, I think. And yeah, exciting to get the wires in. We just did a bunch of the wiring work though, so that's exciting. And I just had a thought.
What?
Our couch is in the front. Shouldn't we have a spot to put the screen back there? So if you're sitting with a couple friends.
Yeah, you could choose to shoot it this way or shoot it that way.
And this would already work where it is.
And this mounting point would work for both.
We'd only have to add one more plate. We should check it.
Okay.
And then they pretty much stick right away, so it wouldn't be a whole setback.
We're going to check that, possibly add one more steel plate, and then it's time for the cedar.
Yes.
Yes. Official.
4 weeks later. Can we still put it this way? Definitely not short. Okay.
So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 mounting points, not 3. We added one going the other direction over the bed. So we've got options. If we've got anything, we've got options.
Plank number 1 is in. Fun thing is we have to router out some space for the metal plates and the capping. Kind of annoying, but they're gonna sit more flush and the adhesive will work better if we do that. So we're gonna have to do it. It's gonna slow things down a bit, but here we go.
I marked the ends of the boards that need to be routed out for the capping up there. I'm gonna hand them off to Drew.
I am the router master. No, but I am running the router today.
You are. You're cutting and routering.
All right, let's get to it.
Do it.
Be right back. Hot and tasty, fresh out the oven.
That's service. Look at that.
Yeah.
Looks good.
I'll get them planks on the ceiling. We're interrupting this episode briefly to tell you about a new Patreon exclusive video series that's going to follow this build.
Patreon is our subscription-only page, and for every episode of the build series, we'll be sitting down to watch and talk about all the different projects going on in the videos. So behind-the-scenes moments, more in-depth details. There's so much that goes into each one of these projects. There's no way that we could fit it all into one build episode. So that's why we're starting this commentary series, to give you a little bit more detail about what goes into each project.
Yeah, and at some point you might be starting to affect the structural integrity if you have that many cuts.
Yeah,
Right?
I agree.
At this point, what we've done, I don't have any concern about that. But if you had just endless things of basically splitting the FRP from the other point, you're just weakening it. So
Yeah.
you wouldn't want to do that for everything.
This is a Patreon exclusive, available to all of our Patreons, $5 and up. Patreon is a wonderful way to support your favorite creators.
So we'll see you over on Patreon, but now back to the episode. Okay, we got the lights in the ceiling. I got 6 of them wired to this wire, which I'm just going to hook up to a temporary battery pack that I have. So we'll have some light in here while we're working. The bed lights are on a separate circuit, so I'd have to run another wire over there. It would just be kind of in my way. We don't need them, so I'm just going to put the front 6 on for now. And then we got some working light at least. Plus it should look a lot nicer than a obnoxiously bright ring light or work light that we've been using. And then this pack, I'll just have to put a charger on it every couple days. If you're not using a lot of power, it's not a big deal. And here comes some lights, ready? Here we go. Bam. There we go, that's a little better. So this is definitely an upgrade to using a work light or ring light, because we can actually see now without being aggressively blasted in the face with the other light. This will set us up for a while to keep working in here with light until it's connected permanently.
Because it's dark at 5:30.
Because it's dark at 4:30, yeah. Sweet. Ceiling is up and the lights are in. I am super relieved that this whole ceiling cabinet light project is done, because it was a lot of work. The ceiling should have been the easiest one we've ever done, because we didn't have to even run the nail gun. In some ways it was easy, but we ended up having to router out all those places for the metal plates to allow the projector screen magnets to attach to, as well as the capping on the edge was raised, so we had to router that out. So it actually was a very slow process. It was like each board, measure, mark, go out there, router, cut. Hopefully you did it the right way. Hopefully it's a good board.
Yeah, also these ceiling planks are only a 1/4 inch thick. They're very thin to be routering. We didn't blow out any of the planks routering, but you're only taking the smallest little bit out, but it makes the biggest difference with how the ceiling looks, so it doesn't look all warped and weird from everything underneath it. With the buses, we had furring strips. We would nail them into place, no problem at all. But this ceiling was a little bit of a different plan of attack. We thought that we would have more issues with the planks wanting to fall down, but that really wasn't something we encountered at all. This adhesive that we're using is really thick, and once we would stick a plank up there with just some simple painter's tape, it really wasn't going anywhere. I think the best thing that we did to help ourselves was to put this first 2 middle rows of planks in, glue them, tape them, and then we let them set for almost 3 hours. We just went and got dinner and came back, so we didn't have to worry about our anchor point kind of sliding back and forth. It was already secured and it kept everything else in line from there on out. As with all the projects in this new composite box, we're learning and modifying our process for this new building style. There was a lot of lessons learned, but I'm really, really happy with how it turned out. And I'm also very grateful to have the lights in the ceiling because it's winter time here in New York and it's dark at like 4:15, 4:30. So we desperately need the lights in here to keep working.
Yeah, it's definitely better than like the big bright work light.
Yeah.
It looks good. Now that adhesive is probably overkill for these ceiling planks, but we already had it, and yeah, it would have saved a little bit of money by getting construction adhesive that's a bit cheaper. But then we would have definitely had to find a way to hold the planks up there. Mm-hmm. And since that stuff is so sticky and sets pretty quick, we were able to kind of get away with just putting them one at a time as opposed to using a cheaper adhesive and having to hold them up. So definitely overkill,
yeah.
But it kind of worked for our situation and we already had the product, so it was definitely helpful.
Yeah.
It is just so much prep getting this whole ceiling in, between doing like half of your wiring, putting in the magnetic mount points, getting the cabinets in. It was a lot, and it's a little frustrating because I want to just get the lower parts in that make it look like the structure of our house. Mm-hmm. Once those are installed, that means we can work on our system, so power, our plumbing, and our heat, all that stuff. But until that's in place, we can't. And they're sitting there and like, nope, gotta do the ceiling,
And also to have a place to live.
Yeah, and to have a place to live. So
our bus is sold. So we're not living in the bus anymore. We're staying with family, and we would just really like to have our house back, you know? So it feels like a mad rush to get everything done.
Yeah. Well, this one big step, a couple big steps done, and we can start moving forward and actually get in here soon.
That is it for this episode. The ceiling, the overhead cabinets, the lights. So happy. So happy all of this stuff is in. Every week there's been so much visual progress, and it makes me really happy every morning when I open the door and remember what we did, because it is very visual. Stuff's going in the box every day. It's a lot of fun.
It feels 100% better in here with an actual ceiling and not just reflective, shiny, white plastic.
Yeah.
So I'm very thrilled that the ceiling is in.
All right, that's it for this episode, and we will see you next week.
Later.
Hey, dinosaur.
Like a velociraptor? Hey,
A dinosaur there.
I'll pop your goggles into my goggles.
Bumping goggles. New hit single, Bumping Goggles. Gross. I gotta make a new one of these. Get out, you're creeping me out.
It's really easy to sound like a horror movie monster at these.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. You're scaring the people.